Hello, everyone. I'm Psychic Medium Chris George, and I'm joined by my co-host Victor, the Voice Furman, and Jeremy Moonshine Adams. Welcome to our show. This is Vision Quest, where we will try and unleash the power of your mind. It is August 29th, and we are airing live on DTMWickedRadio.com. And we want to thank everyone for being here with us tonight. If you guys got a pen and paper or a pencil or whatever, the call-in number is 818-431-8214. And if anybody has any questions for us or our guests, please don't hesitate to call in. We love our callers. Listen, everybody, this is going to be a great show tonight, so sit back, relax, and let's cross that threshold of reality together. Let's have a few drinks. Let's have a good time. The weekend is here. The holiday is here. It's time to have a good time, and that's exactly what we're going to do tonight. My fan page is Psychic Medium Chris George, so give it a like, maybe get a free reading. Victor's fan page is Victor the Voice Furman, and Jeremy's fan page is Jeremy Moonshine Adams. But the most important page that we have is our Vision Quest page. So if you're on Facebook, give it a join. Just to join the page, and we do a lot of the page. We also have a Google Plus community page that we, if you're on Google Plus, join that page too. Also an outstanding page. So guys, why don't we talk about last week's show a little bit? We were talking about exorcism, and we actually had Tamara Costantino, who Victor and I did an exorcism for. What did you guys think of the show last week? I'm not sure if Victor's with us right now, so Jeremy, why don't you go first?
I thought it was a great show, man. Hearing other people's experiences kind of shed light on, I guess, my own experiences in a different point of view. So I really enjoyed the show, and I thank Tamara for coming on and sharing that with everybody. So thank you.
It was a great show. It was definitely a great show, and I thought she did a wonderful job. And, that was the last minute. We were supposed to have Michelle Arbeau on, our celebrity numerologist, and she had a family emergency, so I gave Tamara a call real quick, and she said she'd love to come on, and she did us a favor. And we talked about her experience, and we talked about exorcism in general. We talked about attachments and possession, and I tell you what, I thought it was a phenomenal show, and I thought everybody did a great job on it. Victor, are you with us? Okay, Victor isn't with us yet, but he'll be with us shortly, I'm sure. I guess we should introduce our guest, although Victor's usually the one who does it, and he has the bio on our guest. So, no biggie. Our guest tonight is Kim Baker, and Animals Talk, and she listens. How you doing, Kim?
I'm good. How are you, Chris?
I'm wonderful. And Jeremy is my co-host, and Victor the Voice Furman is also a co-host. He'll be with us shortly, and we're real happy to have you here tonight.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
I'm sorry we don't have your bio. Usually Victor is the one who reads the bio, but he's having some technical difficulties. So why don't we start with you just letting the people know a little bit about you?
Sure. Well, I have been talking with animals since I was 2 years old, and like most people, they go around telling people that you can talk and heal animals. It wasn't readily accepted. So my family said, you probably shouldn't tell people that. So I suppressed the gift, and then in 2007, I started to meet the right people that said, oh, yeah, absolutely, you can totally do this. So I started taking workshops and classes and getting books and practicing. And then in 2010, I went to a horse workshop for something entirely different, and they wanted you to connect with the horses prior to working with them. So you'd go over to their paddock or their stall, and they gave you a little journal, and they wanted you to just see what kind of information you got. Well, I sat down, went to town, had full-on conversations with them. The ladies that were running the workshop were just amazed, and they wanted me to talk to their dogs and a couple of their other animals that they had issues with, and they said, are you doing this professionally? I said, no, I'm not, and they are the ones that encouraged me to hang my shingle out and go professional. I'm also a certified Reiki master teacher and an equine cranial sacral therapist. And cranial sacral therapy is really fascinating. So there's 3 rhythms in the body. There's your breath, the heartbeat, and the cranial sacral rhythm. So the craniosacral rhythm is your spinal canal fluid filling and receding much like the tides of the ocean. And all the bones in your body flow in a certain particular rhythm along that with your spinal column. And when they get into dysfunction, that's when we can go in energetically and ask them to come back in harmony. It's fabulous. I've seen some amazing things happen. I've done some amazing healings on animals with it. And it also works on people, but I just work on animals.
I have a question. Now, we've had a couple guests on recently. We've had a couple guests on recently that do animal work, and it seems that a lot of them start out with horses. Is it because it's easier to communicate with them, to get messages from them? What is that?
That's a good question. I don't think that horses are easier. I think that, any animal that has something to say, as long as you're open to it, it's easy to work with them. As far as maybe the healing portion, horses might be a little bit easier, maybe because they're bigger, and depending on the type of horses, if you're working with like rescue horses or something like that, they all need it. They desperately need it. So that could be a reason for that.
Well, Miss Baker, I sent you a picture of Chris with his snake, Prada.
Yes.
And you said that you could do a reading. Can you do that now, please? Because I'm very interested in what Prada had to say.
That picture was from, a year ago. Prada's a lot bigger now.
Well, it's still the same animal.
Okay.
Yes, I can do that now, as long as you don't mind that for me to do that, I have to go into a little bit of a meditative state, so I will be quiet, which I know for radio is not a good thing. But you guys, you guys can talk a little bit if you want, or however you want to handle that, and just kind of let me do my thing. I wanted to try to connect with her a little bit before the show, so I'd have some information, but I just didn't have the opportunity. Although, Jeremy, I did quickly, before your producer called, I did talk with your ducks about why they're attacking your dog, but I just didn't get down the line far enough. So, are you ready for me to talk to Prada? Do you have a specific question, Chris?
Absolutely.
Chris,
okay,
do you have a specific question?
I just want to know if she's happy with her new housing.
Okay. And you're in Long Island, right?
I'm in Staten Island.
Staten Island. Okay.
So, Jeremy, when did you send this picture?
Well, I handled this end of the show. I sent it when I replied to, hey, Victor, there's Victor. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you very much. Had a problem with Skype.
Would you like to give our guest, while she's meditating, a proper introduction?
Well, our guest tonight is Kim Baker. Kim has been an animal communicator for more than 36 years. She specializes in improving the relationship between animals and their human companions. She's an internationally recognized author, speaker, and coach. She holds a Master's of Integrated Sciences degree from the University of Colorado, is a certified Reiki Master teacher, and an equine craniosacral therapist. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you, Victor. That was beautiful. So, Chris, is Prada a little timid sometimes?
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
Okay, she, when I asked her specifically your question about, is she happy with her new environment, she said she was still exploring it, and she seems a little unsure of herself and the environment. So is this something that you did relatively recently, or does she just take a long time to get used to new things?
I think she's taken some time. I would say about 2 months. She was in a really small tank, her original tank, and what I did was I went out and I got a much bigger tank, and I made it really nice. I put trees and rocks, and I made a beautiful house for her. And I don't know, she seems to like it.
Yeah, is there a particular? She's showing me a branch, a brown branch that. What it's reminding me of, is what some of the exhibits use for their snakes and stuff too. That the type of branches that have the holes in them. Do you have one of those in your?
Yeah,
that's what she's showing me. That's her favorite.
Yeah. She actually, I have two branches in there, and there's one in particular that she really likes that she actually lays on most of the time.
Yeah. That's what. And then do you let her? She's showing me that you drop the mice in different corners of her tank, and then she gets to hunt them a little bit. Is that what you do?
Yeah, I put them all over, but a lot of times what I'll do is I give her 3 mice at a time, and I'll open the box, and she knows as soon as I walk in the room, she knows I have mice in that box, and she starts getting a little crazy. I open the top of the tank, I open the box, and as I turn the box over, she literally leaps up and rips one of them out of the box, and then starts wrapping her body around the other 2 immediately. She's very aggressive when it comes to her mice.
Yeah. She's a beautiful girl.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Do you have any other questions for her?
I want to know if she likes I have a lot of nieces and nephews. I have my son, my daughter, and I bring the snake out all the time when they come. And I have like 12 nieces and nephews, and they love playing with the snake. I wrap her around the neck and all that. I want to know if she enjoys when we do that.
So she can get a little overwhelmed, she says, because, as you know, the kids' energy can be a little off the wall. So when they get overly excited, and you know her really well, so you can kind of tell when she starts to, retreat back into herself, so to speak. So watch for that, and when she does that, then, go ahead and give her a break and put her back in her tank and give her some time, and then you can bring her back out again. She doesn't mind. She just needs sometimes to take it in shorter amounts of time. And then she said, I also got an image of kids tapping on the glass. So do they do that?
Well, I have a little niece. She's 2 years old, and she's kind of a terror. And when she
kind of?
Yeah, she likes to bang on the glass. It drives me crazy, but, once I tell her to stop, she stops.
Okay, yeah. She doesn't obviously. She doesn't like that.
I have a question for Prada.
Wait, what are you talking about? You have a question for my snake?
I do.
What's
I
that?
do. I took a secret poll to find out what our listeners wanted to know about you. So I could ask the snake, okay? And it come up that they wanted to know if you really dance to the Village People before you go to bed.
The answer is yes.
She said yes, man.
Oh, God.
Body, wanna build my body, such a thrill, my body.
Sorry, Chris, you sent an image with that, too.
Anyway, Victor, we actually just started the interview when you came, so, you could start it out.
Yeah, Kim, when did you first realize that you could communicate with animals?
When I was 2 years old, what happened was there was a boy in my neighborhood, and we had a big blue spruce tree in our yard, and he came over and with his slingshot, and he shot one of the birds that had a nest in the tree and killed her. And I don't know what happened to, it was the mother, and I saw the whole thing. It was really traumatic, and all these emotions were going through me and stuff, and he just, ran away and was laughing and thought it was, the funniest thing ever. And I don't know if he shot the dad, too. I didn't see that, but the male bird, wasn't around, and she had 3 chicks in the nest, and unfortunately they didn't survive. I did the best that I could, but I wasn't really able to do much for them because they were pretty young. So it was really traumatic for me, but at the same time, it's what sparked my passion for just being a voice for the animals.
All right, good, Jeremy.
How exactly does animal communication work?
It's a great question. So the difference between an animal communicator and a pet psychic or an animal psychic is a communicator is a two-way conversation. So we're having a two-way conversation now, right? You all are, well, a little more than that, but you all are asking me questions and I'm giving you answers. And then I could ask you questions and you would give me answers. With a psychic, it's one way. It's just information that's being sent to the person and they're only receiving. So there's no sending. And then for me, I go into a meditative state. I go to my happy place in my mind, and it's actually this park bench with a tree, and I call in the animal, so that's why a picture is helpful, but I can do it with just a physical description, and start asking the animal questions. And the information comes in 6 different ways. So I can get the psychic download. I can see images in my mind. I hear a voice in my mind, which happens to be my own, but because I've been doing this for 36 years, I know that it's the animal speaking because of all the validation I've received. I get body sensations. I can also, which is pretty rare for me, is smell and taste. So those are all the 6 different ways that it comes. And everybody can do this. It's just like singing. Everybody can sing, right? Some people are just way more talented than others. And everyone has a dominant way of receiving the information. So my dominant way of receiving the information is the voice in my head and images. And then probably the third would be the body sensations and the downloads. Like I said, the taste and the smell is pretty rare, but with time it would develop even more.
Kim, if you were present with an animal, actually physically present with an animal, does the communication change?
No, it's the same.
The quality
and
of the communication, same.
The quality might be a little stronger because I'm physically there, but I mean, I've spoken with animals all over the world, so it obviously don't have to be physically present, and Prada's not physically present in where I'm at because I'm in Colorado, so it does work, and sometimes you notice a difference in them, and sometimes they just do their own thing that doesn't even look like you're talking to them, and it doesn't matter. I don't care if they are physically present, what they're doing.
Do you find it easier to communicate with animals that are living or animals that have passed?
Well, I can do both, and it depends. I don't have any issues with deceased ones. It just depends on if they want to connect. So most living ones, not a problem, although some of them don't want to talk or they don't want to share their story. And that's the same with the deceased, too. They're gone. I mean, they'll be like, yeah, I'm fine, whatever, but they're doing their own thing.
Well, that's kind of the same for me as well, because if the spirit doesn't want to talk, they're just not going to talk. So it's pretty much the same for me. But I have a question from our the owner of the network, Tiffany, and she has a dog, Morrison, and it looks to me like maybe a retriever. I'm not sure. And she wants to know if a dog Morrison is happy and if he needs anything.
And where's Morrison located?
I think it's upstate New York.
Okay. What kind of dog? You said it was a. Like a
well, he's writing me right now. To me, it looked like some type of retriever, but I could be wrong.
Oh, retriever. What color is he?
Golden.
Is he older?
Golden retriever.
Okay. Is he an older dog? Is he like 9 to 12 years old?
He's writing me right now. A little bit younger, yes.
A little bit younger. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. 1 year old.
1 year old. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I must have the wrong dog. Hold on. Does Morrison have any health issues, though? Because that's what I'm getting, is that he has some health issues.
Well, she's saying that he's a monster, which means I'm guessing that he doesn't listen too well. But, Denny, does he have any health issues?
No,
that she's aware of.
No, he doesn't have any health issues. He just can't stop chewing on everything and slobbering all over the place.
Yeah. That's what it is. So he's chewing stuff up, and it's getting stuck in his digestive tract. What she can do, or he can do, is feed the dog pumpkin. So go get some canned pumpkin, as if you were making a pumpkin pie. It's really high in fiber. The dogs, most of them pretty much like it, and it'll help pass whatever he's chewed up out.
Okay. Outstanding. All right.
Chris, I'd actually like to ask her about my dog. Kim, my dog's name is Kismet. We're in Queens, New York City. Kismet is half what's known as a Catahoula, or Louisiana leopard dog, and half
beautiful
pointer.
dogs.
Thank you.
Okay.
And
what
one blue
kind
eye,
of pointer?
German pointer, half German pointer.
German pointer. Okay.
And and she's got one blue eye and one brown eye. And she has that beautiful maroon and white mottled coloring all over her body. And she was actually rescued from Hurricane Katrina and brought up here to New York. And we adopted her from a shelter up here in New York. And my question is, she seems to have a lot of allergies, and we've taken her to both vets and allergy vet specialists, and we can't seem to find what it is. It's not food, it's not environment. We really can't seem to find what it is. Can you tune in and tell me, give us any suggestions, please?
Yep, and this is Victor, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay, and I'm sorry, what's the dog's name again?
Kismet.
Kismet, okay.
Correct.
How old is she?
She was 8 this year. No, I'm sorry, 9 this year, 2005, 9.
Okay, so the first thing that she's showing me is she has either a parasite or bacteria or fungal infection in her GI tract, and that's what's causing the, quote, allergies.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do is refer you to, there's a couple different people that I work with that do excellent homeopathic type stuff, like natural stuff, if you're
right,
because that's if you're open to that. So one would be getting a hold of Tigger. She's the founder of BioStar US, and the web address is biostarus.com. I can also, I have Jeremy's email, so I can respond to that back on Monday. I don't have internet connection right now, and give you her direct number if you'd like, or you can look up their website. But she has a whole canine line of stuff. I use it on all of my animals. She's amazing. So she can help you. And then another gal is Katie. She's an herbalist. She used to be a small animal vet tech, and Tigger's in Virginia, and Katie's here in Colorado. Obviously, they both ship, and I can send. Katie's is gardenfairyapothecary.com is her website. So that's gardenfairyapothecary.com.
Got it.
And she's also an intuitive, so you just call her, tell her what's going on. She will ship you the herbs, and they're not expensive at all.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like, I think her 8-ounce bottles are, I don't know, for me when I get them, because I actually have her ship them to me instead of going down to her store, because she lives kind of way out in the country. It's like $18 or something like that. So it's really affordable.
Both my wife and I are into homeopathic remedies, and so that's not a problem if we can find the right stuff for Kismet.
Well, Miss Baker,
Thank you.
Victor is also a Reiki master.
Oh, very cool.
So.
Yeah, it's awesome stuff. I love mixing a lot of the different modalities for just whatever the animal needs.
I have an interesting question, and I want to know. This might sound odd, so prepare yourself. I used to date.
You'd be surprised at some of the questions.
I used to date a girl when I was in the Air Force, and she had a cat. I don't like cats. It's probably the only animal that I don't like. Anyway, she had a cat, and I was very nice to the cat. The cat loved me, but when we would get intimate, the cat would attack me every friggin' time. We had to make sure she wasn't in the bedroom because she would attack me. Now, is that normal? What's that about? And is that something that's common?
It is actually common.
It is.
So you're not alone. It's just a territory thing. Cat is protecting the girlfriend. You're, quote, violating, unquote, the girlfriend. So, yeah. Not that you were, but, according to the cat.
Right.
And it can happen with...
He was having a problem with the cat putting holes in her. He couldn't keep her aired up.
Yeah, Vicky, you have something to say?
No, I'm sorry, Kim. Go ahead.
Oh, it can happen with, a dog, or a bird. It doesn't necessarily, have to be a cat. But I have heard of other cats doing that.
I was just going to say that Kismet is jealous of my wife. Kismet thinks she's the other Mrs. Furman or the actual Mrs. Furman. And anytime my wife and I embrace, Kismet tries to break us up. She goes between us and tries to break us up.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, because you two, Victor and Kismet, are the alpha pair, not Victor's wife and Victor.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
Yep, that's
right.
what she thinks.
So
right.
I would like to hear what these damn ducks have to say. The reason why they're attacking my dog.
Well, before you answer that, Kim, before you answer that, I just wanted, I got to say something. And Victor, I know you will concur with this. I find it interesting that our co-host, Jeremy Moonshine Adams, has a beard down to his kneecap, and he has ducks. He's like Mr. Duck Dynasty. I mean, do you not find this interesting?
Absolutely. And the thing is that Jeremy always pays the bill.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Kim,
right.
go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
That's fine.
Kenesha just got mad at me because she said those are her ducks.
Well, her ducks. So what do we got for the...
So, Jeremy,
Yes.
with did Lola bite Penguin? At
Yes.
any point? Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
she did, because
Yep.
Penguin come up. Lola was asleep, and Penguin come up and goosed her, and Lola spun around instinct and bit down on her. She didn't bring blood or anything, but yeah, at one time she did bite her.
Now wait a minute, Jeremy, is Penguin a duck?
Yes.
So
Yes.
he ducked her. He didn't goose her.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
So Dr. Dre is all over Lola's butt about it. It's like, that dog bit my duck, and that's why they're going after her.
Okay, could you let him know, please? And he's been getting after the chickens too, but let him know that Lola is not going to do that anymore, please.
Yes. Yes. So he's.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to break into song. Jeremy Adams had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on that farm he had some ducks. Never mind.
I'll have some goats. Hey, listen, when I move, I'm having some little African pygmy goats, man. They're the greatest little goats ever.
Yeah, but I get worried. I get worried when Jeremy talks about animals, because he is from the South, and you know the stories that we heard about guys from the South. I'll leave it at that.
Well, I have to say that Dr. Dre is named correctly, because he thinks he is the bomb.
And he's cocky, man. He walks around here like he's cock of the walk, and he gets after the chickens. He gets after the ducks. They're spoiled to death. I walk outside. Every time I walk outside, they get a treat. They get cracked corn, some little miniature black oil seed, sunflower seeds, and then they get some little duck pellets. The chickens run loose in the yard. They pretty much took over the garden, so we gave up on it. So, they get fresh vegetables and jet every day. So they're
nice.
all full.
So, Jeremy, Dr. Dre is saying that he heard what I said, but he doesn't really believe it. So I think you need to sit them down and have a conversation. Just speak English. Talk to him. Just say, look, I promise that Lola's not going to do this. And
I told him. Listen, I told him, I was like, dude, if you don't chill out, I'm gonna have to take you out, man. I'm gonna chop your head off.
Jeremy, you got to show him who rules the roost, my friend.
This is a bad dude. You don't know. This is a badass duck. He's kind of like a bull around here, man.
Jeremy, I'm tuning into him right now, and I realize what it is, and I think Kim will back me up on this. I think he's depressed. I think he's down.
Look, they're sitting right here at my back doors. My back is to the back door, and they're sitting right there at the back door, and they peck their beaks on the glass wanting to come in.
Take your camera and show us. Come on, Jeremy, show us on your camera for those.
All right, hold on.
For our listeners, we have our little cameras here in Skype, and we can see what's going on. And Jeremy's about to give us a little show here.
Where are they at? The last time we fined by the FCC for nudity. You see him?
Let's see. Oh yeah, look at that. That's a mean-looking duck. You know, the funny thing is, he's peeking through the window. He's Peking duck.
Oh, Peking duck. I like that. So, well, if you haven't noticed, Victor is our resident comedian.
What is Miss Baker, what is the funniest thing that an animal has ever said to you?
Well, I got to tell you, Dr. Dre is pretty hilarious. Especially when I got your email, Jeremy. I'm like, a duck named Dr. Dre. Sorry, I just got a little chuckle about that. But anyway, like I said, after talking to him, I get it.
But see, when I picked him up, I mean, as soon as we picked him up, we got in the car, and I told Kenesha, I want to name him Dr. Dre. I mean, instantly. And then she's like, I'm just going to name Penguin, the other duck. Oh.
Aw, look at that. Hello, Dr. Dre.
We gotta make it to where everybody can see our video, because we have a good time on video,
Absolutely.
I feel bad that our listeners don't get to see this crazy stuff.
Hey, Kim, Dr. Dre has a green bill. I never saw a duck with a green bill like that.
This is an Ancona duck. They are like Dalmatian. He is a very rare one. He's gray. They also have the blues. They're even rarer, but they're like the Dalmatians of
and what about the green bill, Jeremy? I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, they have
he's very unusual.
Multicolored bills.
Wow, look at that.
So, Miss Baker, I'm sitting here holding Dr. Dre right now, and I'm petting him. How does he like that?
He's okay. He's okay with it. He's a little kind of agitated at the moment.
He is, because Penguin's not in here with him.
Yeah, Jeremy, don't ruffle his feathers, please.
Yeah, and get your finger out of there, because I don't think he likes that. Let's move on. So let's talk about some funny things that I want to explore this a little bit more about funny things or odd things that the animals say, because I know, being a psychic medium, I give people messages every day, and sometimes the things that come out of my mouth. You know what? I'm going to tell you guys something. I'm going to share a story with you, because nobody knows who they are. I would never mention. And had this couple of people come to my house for reading. It was a mother-daughter, and the daughter was a beautiful, beautiful girl. Couple kids, divorced. Mom is an awesome woman, and I'm giving them a reading, and I look up and I said to the daughter, I said, "You're a lesbian?" And it just kind of like popped out of my mouth, and I didn't. I shouldn't have said it. And the mother, I can't really say what the mother said, but the mother looked at it and she says, I can't say it. I mean, I think we could get in trouble if I say it. She says, you eat, you know the word. I can't say the word on the air, but I was stunned, and I felt so bad that I brought that up, and then I had to go 2 hours with these people going back and forth about the daughter being a lesbian, and it was just like crazy. So, I mean, I've had some crazy things happen in my readings. I'm really curious about some of the odd things or funny things or weird things that have happened during your readings.
Yeah, so the animals, what I love about the animals is each one is an individual, and their personality really comes through when I start talking to them. So some of them have a really good sense of humor, and there was this one horse, and the gal had contacted me because she'd had 3 vets out to look at him, excuse me, and none of them could figure out what was wrong with this horse. And he was really acting out, and she was afraid for him, she was afraid for herself. And I don't know about you, Chris, but as an animal communicator, I'm usually the last resort. So they've tried everything, and nothing's working, and they can't figure it out, so they come to me. And the first thing out of this horse's mouth was, these vets are stupid. And just the way he said it, I just started laughing, because I was like, I've never heard an animal say that before. And it just was hilarious. And so I was like, okay, well, yeah, obviously you've been through 3 and nobody seems to know what's going on, so tell me what's going on. Well, he showed me that he had back pain, really severe back pain. And he showed me the different areas and things like that, and then she had a bunch of other questions and went through all that. Well, she had the 4th vet out that afternoon. So I talked to him in the morning, and the 4th vet came that afternoon. And that finally, and it figured out what it was, and he had the beginnings of what's called kissing spine. And so what that is where the vertebrae start rubbing against each other along the horse's back, right where the saddle is. So no wonder this horse is acting like a crazy maniac when he's saddled and ridden and stuff like that, is because he's in severe pain. And I will say that 98% of the time, especially horses, if they're acting out, so if they're bucking, striking, biting, rearing, kicking, most often, 98% of the time it's from pain. And I've seen with dogs, too, that maybe not quite as high of a percentage, but pain or fear, they will be acting out for that reason as well. So another funny story is this gal, she had a German Shepherd that she'd rescued. And when she would leave her house, he would literally destroy her house. So he would open the kitchen cupboard, and he would push all of her dishes out. I mean, major destruction. And she was like, what am I going to do with him? And so we asked him. We said, well, what is it that you need when she goes to work that you know that she's going to come home? Well, he said, I want a trail of kibble out of the kitchen, through the dining room, around the table, out into the living room. Like, he had a very specific pattern. Exactly, right? So we're all laughing. And this is like towards the beginning of when I was getting, reawakening my gift and all that. And I was thinking, oh, my God, how am I going to tell this lady this, right? This is crazy. And so I told her, and she looked at me, and I was like, I know. And she said, you know what? She said, I have nothing to lose. I thought, well, that's a great attitude. So what does she do? She goes home. The next day she goes to work. She makes this trail of kibble around her house. And she looks at the dog, and she's like, okay, I did what you asked. I'm going to work, and I will be coming home. And the dog just looked at her and was like, okay. So she left for work. She comes home. She's all anticipating, right? Turning that key in the lock, opening the door, and she walks into her house, and nothing was destroyed. Now, the big question, right? You guys are all dying to know, did the dog eat all the kibbles? I think he ate maybe a handful of them. That was it. So what does she do every day when she goes to work? She makes a trail of kibble around her house.
Wow. So apparently the kibble trail gave the dog some type of satisfaction that it was looking for.
Yeah, so that's what he needed to know that she was going to come home. Now, this dog had been passed around from shelter to shelter, had quite a bit of baggage, and obviously extremely terrible separation anxiety. So that's, and when I said, well, what is it that you need to know that she's going to come home to you? And that's what the dog said. I was like, wow, okay. That was pretty crazy.
We have a friend named Tom who's a very good friend of ours. He's in our chat room listening tonight, and Tom raises sheep up in Massachusetts. And every time I visited Tom, I said the sheep seemed to be very depressed. And I said, I said to the sheep, I'm an animal communicator too. I said, how does Tom treat you? And they all went, bad, bad, bad.
Well, Ms. Baker, I have one other. I need you to look into something for me real quick. In 2012, something pretty bad happened to me and, well, to the family. And I had 2 little miniature Shetland ponies. One, the sorrel female was Princess, and the solid white male was White Cloud. They were sold. They were taken from me while I was out on the road and sold. Are they okay? Are they doing good?
Okay.
They were in
Jeremy,
Tennessee,
right?
in Rover, Tennessee, yes. This is Jeremy. They were in Rover, Tennessee at the time.
So I don't get that they're together anymore. They're living separately.
Oh, that sucks, man.
Princess is okay. Princess is in a good spot. She has a little girl that's like totally doting on her, makes her feel like a princess, does all that. Yeah, she's good. And White Cloud, that was the name of the male, you said?
Yes.
Okay. So he's pretty depressed. He's okay. Like, he's being treated well. He's fed. He's healthy, all that. But, yeah, he's pretty sad that he's not with Princess.
Yeah, they
that
were.
Was his gal. Oh.
Yeah,
that was his
they
gal.
were together. He couldn't do anything, but that was. I got up every morning and watched them. They were feisty in the morning, and they would run through the field. And also had a Tennessee walking horse named Rocky, and those little ponies would get him going, and they would just take out through the field, bucking and raising hell. So, anyways, okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Pets are getting cosmetic surgery. What is up with that? Why are they doing this?
Yes, I thought that was pretty crazy too. In further research, it's really interesting. So the ones that need it, it's like and it's dogs and cats that have extra folds of skin. So you think of the Shar-Peis, you think of some of the other dogs that have,
English bulldogs.
Yeah, exactly. And what's happening is that those extra layers of skin, they're getting bacteria infections and things like that. So they're going in and having them removed so that they don't have infections.
So in other words, their owners are lazy and they don't want to do the proper care.
It's definitely possible, yes. I think that there was one story of a cat that had extra layers of skin on her vulva, and she was constantly getting infections as well. And so she went in and had surgery to have that fixed. Now there's others. Yeah, there's others that are. So some of them are medical reasons, right? That make it easier, make the animal more healthy. Some of the pugs that have the smooshed-in faces that can't breathe very well, same thing. They're having cosmetic surgery so that they can breathe better. Now, some of them are having fake testicles put on their dogs. So they're neutered.
Yes, I've heard about that. Yes, they're called nudicles. No, this is not a joke. They're called nudicles. Absolutely.
Yep.
Can we get a pair
nice
for Chris's brother?
No, this is an absolutely true story. I read the article by the guy who invented these things. He was a veterinary psychiatrist, and he said what was happening is that when the dogs would be neutered, when they went to lick themselves, they would always get depressed because there was nothing there to lick. He invented these like plastic inserts that they create artificial testicles, and then the dog has something to lick, called nudicles.
That's what Jeremy wears?
This is not a joke. This is not a joke.
Is it kind of like the one that Jeremy is?
Yeah, but I got the ones for the Great Danes, man.
Oh God, Jeremy, come on.
It's for Dr. Dre.
Please, listen, guys. Okay, now we have a lot of listeners listening tonight. Now, Mr. Moonshine just made a big claim. Okay, Great Dane. Now, what you guys don't realize is that.
Oh no! Wait a minute! No! Stop. Jeremy, stop.
Jeremy,
come on. This is a serious show. We have a very respectable guest here. Stop.
And I'm about to tell a very respectable story.
Go ahead.
Jeremy and Kenesha came down, and Victor, you were there, but you had left. And we had this big bonfire going in the backyard, and Jeremy was all drunk, and he decided to do some kind of, I don't know, Native American, or I should say, no, it wasn't Native American. It was some kind of hillbilly love dance. Next thing you know, He's naked around the campfire, and I'm looking at like a chihuahua. And I'm thinking to myself, here's this 6'4" guy looking like a chihuahua. It was just something very, very wrong about the whole scene. Let's move on, please. Please.
Okay. You know, Kim, we've got another question coming up. This is really a question that I'm fascinated by. First of all, the first part of the question, are pets really being prescribed marijuana? And more importantly, do they prefer to use bamboo or easy wire? That's what I really want to know.
Well, the answer to the first question is yes. The answer to the second question is no.
Okay, no, I'm just kidding. Now, pets are being prescribed, but I was always under the impression that that marijuana would actually be toxic to animals.
Right. So here's what's going on. There was a veterinarian in California. His name was Dr. Doug Kramer, and he was the one that was prescribing it to the animals out of his practice. And he first started on his own dog. He had a husky. I don't know if she was purebred or a mix, but she was terminally ill with some kind of cancer or something like that. And he had tried everything on her, and nothing was making her comfortable. So he decided to try the medical marijuana, and his favorite way of administering it was a glycerin tincture. That way he could be very precise in his dosage. The other way that it's administered is through using butter or oil and making, a snack for the animal. And so when people got word of this, then some of his clients said, well, what about my dog? Could we do this on my dog? So he was only doing it on terminally ill animals. Now, I know that somebody did it on their horse that had foundered. They gave it to their horse, and supposedly the horse wasn't lame. But I haven't seen any follow-up as to what the long-term prognosis for that horse was, because I'm not quite sure that would really solve founder. It would definitely make the horse more comfortable, but I don't think that that's a long-term solution in that particular case. Now, being in Colorado, it is legal medicinally and recreationally, and what's happening is the vets here are not prescribing it to pets. What they're seeing is an influx. I think it's tapered off a little bit now, but in the beginning it was a huge influx of animals that were being rushed into the ER because the animals were getting into the human feedstuffs. So speaking of Great Danes, if somebody eats half a pan of brownies and you have a Chihuahua and a Great Dane, well, obviously the Chihuahua is going to be much more affected by eating half the pan than the Great Dane is going to be. But
now,
depending on how much
I'm sorry.
they get.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
finish. I want to add something to when you're done. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and brownie's a double whammy because of the chocolate. So
right.
That's an issue for dogs. So it's really the human stuff, and then, there's no control over what it is exactly they're eating, how much they're eating. And it can be fatal if they get too much.
What I was going to say was, first of all, in the state of California, I can just see a guy walking into a medical marijuana dispensary and saying, "Hey, man, I got a script here for my dog. I need a lid for my dog, man." And he's just getting it for himself, obviously. Secondly,
right.
And now I'm going to admit to something that happened many, many years ago. It's not recent, but way back, I'm 61 years old, so I was around in the 60s and 70s. And in the late 60s and early 70s, I had a friend who was a large consumer of marijuana, and he had 2 cats. And every time he would smoke, the cats would sit right with him, and it appeared to me that the cats were inhaling every time this guy would exhale, and then the cats seemed to be stoned. Any validity to that in your mind?
It's possible. I'd have to connect with the cats. But here's my first intuitive hit on that was cats love being around moving energy. And obviously you're not moving a whole lot when you're stoned, but it's more of the state of mind that you go into. I think that's what the cats like being around. Because my cat actually does it. When I go if I'm doing Reiki or if I'm doing cranial sacral therapy or if I'm talking with animals and I go, so what I call it is you flip from the 2% of your brain that you use normally, the database brain, into your other 98%, the expanded awareness. And it happens if you're listening to music or you're playing music, same thing. And so when you flip into that zone, because the animals are in that zone 24/7, that's what the cat's like. And I don't know, I don't do drugs, so I haven't been stoned, so I can't say, but I'm assuming that in that state, you go there too.
Well, what about
That's
catnip? What is the reaction? What do cats react in catnip? What is that about catnip that makes them act that way?
Good question. I don't know if I can answer that. I'm not a veterinarian. My assumption is that it's kind of like marijuana, that they get a little high off of it and it just kind of makes them go crazy.
Well, I once tried smoking catnip, and the only thing that happened is I had terrible diarrhea for 3 days. But
oh, I'm sorry.
Time out, guys. I know we're doing a serious show here, but I just got a special report sent to me from the owner of the network, being one Denny Gager. He reports to me that on New Year's Eve, he will be teaching Moonshine a new naked dance around the bonfire. This is breaking news, people. Back to our regularly scheduled show. All right, I know we have a caller with us. Tom, are you with us?
it looks like he's trying to dial in. Oh, there he is.
How you doing,
Yes,
Tom?
I am.
Do you have a question for our guest, my friend?
Yes, I'm calling about the noodles because I want to see if they come in adult size. Yeah, my girlfriend took mine a long time ago, so I'd like to see if I can get a replacement.
Hey, Tom, I had a long session with her. She's going to give them back to you for Christmas. She promised, okay?
No, she said that 2 years ago. She keeps them in a glass jar just out of hand, like where I can get to them, but then she just pulls them back, and I'm like, I give up.
Hey, Kim, let me ask you a question.
And I do not have to Massachusetts. I don't.
Kim, were you expecting this? Tell me the truth.
What's that?
I want to know.
Question?
I want to know if you were expecting, craziness tonight on this show.
No. Actually, I am.
Tom, not you. I'm talking to Kim. I want to know if our guest was expecting this.
I never know what to expect on radio interviews anymore. Trust me, there was a talk show in Kansas, I think, and they got a little seedy in their questions, and which fine, I just went along with it, but I'm open. I'm just open to however the interview's going to go. So nothing really surprises me anymore.
You're going to get nothing but high class from this show. You're fine.
Good to know.
Happy to Christmas. That's the goal. But no, I am. What? I'm sorry. What?
I said if you want to hang around on the line with us on the show, you're more than welcome.
Oh, absolutely. But I was actually calling up. I don't know. I know you're probably going over soon, but I was calling up about my dog.
All right.
My dog's name is Tess. I love her to death. Originally, it was my girlfriend's dog, but I guess I've kind of come to be her adopted father, and I just want to see how she's feeling.
Okay, so what's the name of the dog again?
Tess, Tess.
Tess. Okay, and what kind of dog is she?
She's a half black lab, half Jack Russell, and the Jack Russell was the male. Good for him.
Does she look more like the lab, or does she look more like the Jack Russell?
No, she looks more like the black lab.
Okay.
So it has almost like a Jack Russell shaped face, but black lab size.
Okay, and you're in Massachusetts? Is that what you said?
Yes.
So let's see. Do you split the time between her and your ex-girlfriend? Is that correct?
No, it's my current girlfriend that I live with.
Oh, your current girlfriend that you live with. Oh, okay. But the dog came from your ex-girlfriend? Or am I totally missing it?
No, that's my dog. Tess that I have now is my current girlfriend's dog before I met her.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So you want to know how she feels about you, the three of you together as like a quote family.
Well, I know she loves us. I just want to make sure she's happy, and if there's anything else more I can make her happier, or if there's some other little telltale signs that can, make her happier. I mean, because she's awesome, and I want to make sure she's great.
So the first thing that when you said, "Can I make her happier?" she's showing me an image of you throwing the ball to her more. Now, obviously, I think you do this quite a bit, but she wants more.
Okay, I can tell.
Yep. What else? I think you feed her pretty well too, but she was showing me more food and more treats. She's pretty happy-go-lucky gal. Yeah, she's a pretty happy girl.
Good. That's what I'm concerned about. I mean, she's fantastic. She's definitely made an improvement in my life. So, yeah, I want to make sure like she's getting what she wants.
Okay. Yeah, she could play ball all day, all night.
No doubt, and she could. She brings me the toys when she's ready. So.
There you go. Yeah, well, she loves.
Well,
do you take her out to like a park or something, and then like you throw them pretty far for her? That's what she's showing me.
I did, but it got to the point where she like wouldn't bring the ball back to me. She would just look at me and be like, "You come to me," and she would just drop the ball, and I would have to go and get it from her.
Okay. Well, you could coerce her with some treats.
But yeah, I need to step in for just 1 second and say that problem that he has with the dog, it extends into all of his other relationships too.
I always have to get my noodles, so yeah.
Okay. Well,
sorry.
Well, what I find, now that's interesting that you bring that up, Chris. So what I find, and most often it's most visible with horses, just because they're so large, but animals are mirrors. They're mirrors of us. They're reflecting back to us, and sometimes we don't like the reflection that we see. And sometimes they're reflecting back how our relationships are in the rest of our life. So it could be social, romantic, work. You can actually learn a lot. And what I love about the horses is, to me, horsemanship is a metaphor for life. So if you have any type of communication issues, if you have any boundary issues, man, that horse is going to bring it front and center right away. And it's tough to ignore a 1,000-pound mirror.
Hey,
so I don't know if that's helpful, Tom, based on what Chris said, but maybe that's just some information for you.
Hey, Tom, do you remember back in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a toy called Clackers? Do you remember Clackers?
I do, but I stopped using those. They would always break when I was on the trampoline.
No, I'm talking about the large plastic balls, and you would go up and down, and they clack together.
Yeah, I tried using those. They broke.
I'm going to get a set of those for you for Christmas, so you don't have to worry about it anymore, okay?
I can always use an extra pair. Fine.
There you go.
I just want to make a statement. This show is a train wreck. Let's go to the next question. Go ahead, Jeremy. Take it.
How can I rescue a dog from a hot car and not get sued? Because, I'm going to walk up and bust the damn window out.
Right. Yes. This is a good question. All right. Let me find my cheat sheet here for that. Okay. Number 1, don't break the window. So you're going to record the information about the vehicle. You're going to alert the management of wherever you're at, shopping mall, Walmart, grocery store, wherever you might be. And then you can call the police or animal control and stay with the animal until help arrives. But the reason that you can get in trouble now, the good news is some states are starting to change the laws a little bit, so only law enforcement is allowed to break into the car to get the animal. This is stupid, mind you, but only law enforcement is allowed to break into the car, because if you, just as a civilian, break into the car, the person can sue you for it. Again, I didn't say that this was intelligence here, but some states are now saying that in addition to police and animal control, that firefighters and some other rescue workers can also legally break into the vehicle and get the animal out. So the best thing to do is record all the information, get a hold of somebody that can legally get into the car and get the animal out and stay with them until help arrives. Now, if you don't care about getting sued, then by all means.
And on that note, we're going to say that this first hour has gone absolutely famously, thanks to our wonderful guest, Kim Baker, animal communicator. We're going to be back in the second hour with more with Kim. He's psychic medium Chris George. He's Jeremy Moonshine Adams. He's Tom Sheepman Gillespie. And I'm Victor the Voice Furman. And you're listening to Vision Quest on the DTM Wicked Radio Network. And we will be back, ladies and gentlemen.
The Caring Coaching Center is a proud sponsor of DTM Wicked Radio Network. What would it mean to you to have better health, more energy, more vitality, and an all-around better life? At the Caring Coaching Center, our mission is to be your partner in helping you reach your health, fitness, and lifestyle goals. We do this through a dynamic 6-month program that helps our clients reach their goals and their full potential. And it all starts with a free, no obligation, 15-minute health history consultation. Just visit us at the www.thecaringcoachingcenter.com to schedule your free consultation today. Or you can go to
Rolling Hills Asylum. Located in East Bethany, New York, just minutes between two major airports, Rolling Hills Asylum is a hotbed of paranormal activity. They have been featured on Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures, Paranormal Challenge, as well as Sci-Fi Channel's Ghost Hunters. Rolling Hills Asylum has been named the #2 most haunted location in the United States by HauntedNorthAmerica.com. The property was established on January 1st, 1827, as the county poor farm. Throughout the years, it has operated as a poor farm, infirmary, orphanage, tuberculosis hospital, nursing home, and more. Past residents and inmates consist of widows, orphans, physically disabled, mentally unstable, murderers, and more. Over 1,700 bodies are buried in unmarked graves, and hundreds more deaths went undocumented. Rolling Hills Asylum is known for a plethora of phenomena, including disembodied voices, doors slamming, footsteps, sounds of furniture moving, full-body apparitions, shadow people, ghostly touches, and numerous Class A EVP. Rolling Hills Asylum proudly offers historical and flashlight tours, 4- and 8-hour public ghost hunts, 8- and 9-hour private ghost hunts, and more, by appointment or pre-booking only. For more information, please visit www.rollinghillsasylum.com. That's www.rollinghillsasylum.com. Or give them a call, 585-502-4066. That's 585-502-4066. Rolling Hills Asylum. What are you doing this weekend? Rolling Hills Asylum. Located in East Bethany, New York, just minutes between two major airports, Rolling Hills Asylum is a hotbed of paranormal activity. They have been featured on Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures, Paranormal Challenge, as well as Sci-Fi Channel's Ghost Hunters. Rolling Hills Asylum has been named the #2 most haunted location in the United States by HauntedNorthAmerica.com. The property was established on January 1st, 1827, as the county poor farm. Throughout the years, it has operated as a poor farm, infirmary, orphanage, tuberculosis hospital, nursing home, and more. Past residents and inmates consist of widows, orphans, physically disabled, mentally unstable, murderers, and more. Over 1,700 bodies are buried in unmarked graves, and hundreds more deaths went undocumented. Rolling Hills Asylum is known for a plethora of phenomena, including disembodied voices, doors slamming, footsteps, sounds of furniture moving, full-body apparitions, shadow people, ghostly touches, and numerous Class A EVP. Rolling Hills Asylum proudly offers historical and flashlight tours, 4 and 8 hour public ghost hunts, 8 and 9 hour private ghost hunts, and more by appointment or pre-booking only. For more information, please visit www.rollinghillsasylum.com. That's www.rollinghillsasylum.com. Or give them a call, 585-502-4066. That's 585-502-4066. Rolling Hills Asylum. What are you doing this weekend?
Guys.
Welcome back to the second hour of Vision Quest with Jeremy Moonshine Adams, Chris George, and me, Victor the Voice Furman. Our special guest tonight is Kim Baker, animal communicator. That first hour was fast and furious. Joining us is our special guest, Tom Gillespie, another friend of ours from Second Sight NYC. And we're back with the second hour of Kim. And during the break, Jeremy was talking about a situation in his family and asking Kim if she can get in touch with a couple of dogs who perished in a fire and perhaps provide some information. So, Jeremy, why don't you share the story quickly, and then Kim will try to tune in on those dogs.
Okay. Well, in 2012, my grandparents died, and supposedly my two little cousins burned up in a fire. They searched the property, they searched the house, they sifted through the ashes for a month, and they found no remains of my two little cousins. They did find my grandparents. They found a parakeet, a dog, but the kids weren't there. The kids are still missing, and, maybe she can communicate with them and find out some details.
So there were two dogs, but there was only remains of one dog. Is that correct?
I'm not too sure. I know they found a dog and a parakeet. There was another dog that was on fire that got run over by the fire truck.
Oh, my God. Ooh. Okay. So tell me about the dogs. So you said one was a poodle and the other one was what?
Right. One was a toy poodle and the other one was one of those little curly-tailed poofy dogs, little bitty tiny. You could put it in a purse. Yes.
They have a lot of hair? Okay. So it was a Pomeranian, red in color, like a sorrel color?
Yes. Yes.
And the poodle, was the poodle black or was the poodle gray?
White.
White, okay.
Now, they used to have a great big, huge, full-size poodle, but that was years and years ago. And he was gray.
Now, do you know which dog got run over by the fire truck?
The one outside. There really wasn't a name for it. He just come up. He looked like mixed with like a yellow lab and something else. I don't know.
So what's the name of the poodle? Do you remember?
I don't.
And do you know the name of the Pomeranian by any chance?
I just called them damn dogs.
Okay. And
you don't understand these dogs. These dogs, yes, these dogs barked all the time. In Rover, Tennessee, if you need the exact address, I can give that to you.
No, I don't need the exact address. That's close enough. And this happened in 2012, you said?
September of 2012.
Okay.
September, I think, 28th, I believe.
So what's interesting is the poodle, I keep seeing the poodle as black, not white, and that must be from the fire. So I'm wondering if that's definitely the remains that were found. Might have been from the poodle.
Okay.
Now the lab-looking dog, you said was outside all the time?
Yes, and there was like another little, like a wiener dog mix. He was a pretty good dog. I don't know if he survived either.
Did the fire just stay at the house, or did it go to some of the other outbuildings?
No, it stayed at the house. It had a full basement, so when it caught on fire, it just all fell in on itself. If there's anybody that would know anything, it would be that poodle, because if they heard anybody coming up or pulling up, they would bark.
Okay. Well, let me focus on I don't even get the Pomeranian at all. So let me focus on the poodle. What I'm seeing, the images that I've gotten so far, and Chris, I don't know if you've done anything with this either, but I get the sense that, like, it was a male adult that came in, started the fire, grabbed the kids, and that's all that I'm getting.
Well, I since you asked, what I got was that they were. I mean, I haven't concentrated on it in a while, but Jeremy could, correct me if I'm wrong. But I think when this happened a few years back, I picked up three people, and I remember flannel shirts and guys. Definitely two guys, maybe one woman. I think that they tied up the grandparents, took the kids, started the fire, and took the kids out of the house. And I think it was drug related. I think that the kids were actually sold for drug money. I don't want to get into what I think is going on with them now, but that was my initial. If I remember correctly, and Jeremy, you could correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, it's 2 years, and I tend to forget a lot of what I see from past readings. But that's what I believe I picked up from that night.
Okay, and so with the poodle wouldn't be able to show me anything beyond that night, because the poodle definitely perished in the fire. So yeah, beyond that, but I don't get flannel shirt or anything like that, but that doesn't mean anything. So I definitely get a male, a very large male, and the energy of that male is like not right. So when
that would be.
Since you bring up drugs, Chris, when people are drunk or on drugs, it changes their energy field, and it creates a lot of holes in it, and so animals can be and people can be very sensitive to it as well, and so yeah, I mean, what the poodle is showing me is like person's like not okay, not right, not correct, not congruent.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and it seemed like it happened really quick. Like, in fact, like, the poodle's showing me now too that the guy took 2x4 and basically either bat swing or golf swing the poodle across the room.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yep.
Jeremy, anything else you could add to this?
No, I knew. I mean, she's confirmed it. You've confirmed it, and everything burned up. So there's no proof of anything. It was, the perfect crime. They killed grandparents and got away with 2 children, and the little boy, he's special. He's, not all there. His mom was on drugs when she was pregnant with him, and the part of his brain that controls motor skills and balance is the size of a pea, and the boy can't. He can walk and he can run, but he'll start shaking his head side to side, and that's him losing his balance. He needed special care, and that's what I worry about.
Right.
So,
Jeremy, when the TBI went through the premises, did they actually find your grandparents tied, or could they have been tied up the way it was described?
The only thing that I was told was that they found pieces of my grandparents.
Oh.
And so, it's a mystery because the kids are still gone. And then it hit me today that, Miss Baker, I got to say, you hit the duck's nail right on the head. You hit Chris's snake. So it just hit me, to ask you, and I believe what you said. So that gives a little closure. So thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm sorry that I can sense a lot from the pool. It was pretty terrible. So I'm sorry about that.
Big
for
hugs to
everyone
you,
involved.
Jeremy.
Yeah.
Big hugs to you, Jeremy.
All right. Well, what can I do to keep my pets safe during natural disasters?
Good question. Well, since we were talking about fire, and I'm in Colorado, and luckily this year we've been having a lot of rain, so the wildfires have been I think we've had maybe a handful, if even that. So last year we had the floods, and basically what you need to do is you need to practice and you need to be prepared because anything can happen at a split moment. So if your animal's on medication, having copies of that, having copies of your vet records, and obviously the more prepared you are, the better it's going to be, and most likely you're not going to need to use it. So over time you will need to replace your records and your medications. Have their food, anything that if you can have a duplicate of their favorite toy, something like that that'll make them comfortable, and practice. So if you have a family, so let's say if you got mom and dad and 2 kids, and there's 2 dogs and a cat in the house, so everybody's going to get a assignment as to what they're going to do. And, little Susie's going to grab the cat, and little Johnny's going to grab one of the dogs. Dad's going to grab the other dog, and mom's going to get, the suitcases and all this stuff. So it depends on where you live, what part of the country, what part of natural disasters your area is prone to, whether it's hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, earthquakes. There was an earthquake in California a couple weeks ago. And just knowing, what you need to do, you can talk with your veterinarian and find out where your nearest shelter is. So knowing if your animal can stay with you, or if not, sometimes the shelters only take humans and the pets have to go to a different shelter. That's something that you need to know. You never want to do this stuff in the last minute. So an example with a forest fire is, the fire may be 10 miles from your home, and then the winds will shift, and they got to get you out. And you're at the grocery store, and you come back, and the winds have shifted, and they won't let you back in your house. And so your animals are in your house. So you need to let the rescue crews know that you've got animals in there. And here in Colorado, we have large animal evacuation teams, and I'm sure that they're all across the country as well. And that's specifically what they do. They train with the rescue crews, and they go in and they get your animals out. Now, oftentimes what we see with the livestock animals is people don't have trailers, or they have trailers but they don't have a truck, or their horse hasn't been in the trailer for 10 years, and so the horse won't load. So I do have to tell you that the rescue crews, if your horse won't load or your alpaca won't load or whatever it is that you have that won't load, depending on how much time they have, they want to save your animal. But in a choice, when they have to make a choice, they're going to take the animal that loads versus the animal that doesn't load. So just something to be aware of. Practice the drills with your animals so that you get them down so that when the emergency hits and you can't think that you just act because you've practiced. So do you have that's kind of a really brief overview. The other thing would be microchipping, having documentation so that you can get your animals back. Katrina's a good example of, I think it's, it was an insane amount of animals that got displaced. And, some people got them back and some people didn't. So
I was going to ask you, our Kismet obviously was rescued from Hurricane Katrina. They said she was approximately 4 months at the time. And I'm just wondering if you can tune into her and see if she has any recollection or memory of that time. One thing that's very interesting is we had taken her to a beach a few years ago, about a year after we got her. And we wanted to see whether or not she was afraid of the water, and she actually loved it. She ran out and swam and just had a grand time, and has been doing so ever since. But I just wonder if you could tune into her energy and see if she has any recollections of that whatsoever.
She does. In fact, when you mentioned it the first time, she definitely has a recollection of it, and she showed me, hanging out with a couple other animals and constantly on the move of trying to, avoid getting trapped by the water.
Mm-hmm.
But I think let me see, she's showing me now. So she's showing me that she was able to hang with an older dog, looks like a female, possibly a Mastiff mix or something along that color. And that dog helped her stay out of trouble. There were a couple times where she would have gotten herself in a really bad spot, but that dog got her out.
Thank you. That's nice. Nice to know. Well,
yeah.
Let's go on with the interview. What are 3 things that we can learn from horses that will improve our work, our family, and, our sex life?
Yes. So, one thing that we can learn is clear communication. So with horses, there is no gray area. It's black or white. It's yes or no. Maybe it doesn't exist. And we all, in any relationship that we have, right, we can improve our communication skills. As well as now that's a two-way street. So you need to be able to listen, and then you need to be able to communicate clearly. So that's number 1. Number 2 is respect. And if you don't have respect for someone, then there's just a lot missing in that relationship. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
So if you're going to ask, somebody to do something for you, or they're asking you to do something for them, and there's no respect or trust, you're just not going to get very far. So having that, the horses definitely show that. Again, like I said, it's a 1,000-pound mirror. It's really hard to ignore. And the other piece with that would be, leadership for the horses as well. And that kind of applies a little bit more in the corporate world than in some of the other relationships. And then the third one, which I kind of touched on with the communication piece, is the listening. So with horses, for example, I know this will come to the sex life piece. So a stallion will go up to a mare, and he will do his thing. And if the mare doesn't like the way he's doing it, she will tell him. And sometimes this can be very, quote, violent. So she may turn around, she may kick him. And sometimes she may kick the crap out of him too. And so he has to go back, and he's like, okay, what did I do wrong? So he has to think about his approach, and he'll go back and he'll try different approaches until he finds the one.
He'll bring flowers and oats.
Yes. And once he finds the winning approach, then he gets to have the fun. So now sometimes, especially in horse breeding, the mare is not given an option. She is just taken over, and the stallion mounts her, and the deed is done. And some stallions can be really aggressive and will bite the mare's neck. And I've seen chunks taken out, all kinds of stuff. So what we can learn from this in improving our own sex lives is, again, wouldn't it be nice that your partner says, oh, I really like that, or, that just doesn't really do it for me. And we don't take it personal. We just okay, this is good, this is bad, so I'm going to do more of the good stuff, right? And it goes both ways.
So I must have a lot of horse sense because I listen to my partner in that way.
You know what? You're just a stud, Victor.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Just call me Flicker, Chris.
You got it. and Mr. Red. Jeremy, why don't you take the next question, buddy?
Alrighty. If a lot of people have this problem, and their animals pee on the floor. Even cats, they will pee on the wall or whatever. How can you help that? How can you solve that?
Well, how would you potty train, Jeremy? I mean, what does Kenesha do when you pee on the walls?
I get a spanking and get put in the bed.
And she rubs it in his face too.
So what do we do about this?
I didn't realize so many people had that problem. Good to know. You learn something new every day. Huh. Well, let's see if these techniques might work for some of these people. So, it's really going to come down to the individual animal, actually, and perhaps the individual person as well, as to why exactly are they peeing off the wall, peeing on the floor. Sorry, that just cracked me up. It could be a territorial issue. It could be that they're afraid. So I'll give you an example. There was a gal that had rescued this young black female cat, and she'd brought her home, and she had a male cat in her house that was, I think he was like 12 or 13. He was an older guy. And the female kept pooping outside the litter box, and she didn't know what to do, so she called me, and she tried all these other things, and she's like, if this cat doesn't stop pooping outside the litter box, I'm going to take her back to the rescue. I was like, oh, okay. So I asked the cat, what's going on? Why are you pooping outside the box? She said, because the male cat is, like, terrorizing her, and she's just terrified of him. He doesn't give her an opportunity to make it to the box. And so I told the lady, I said, well, what do you need? First I asked the cat, what is it that you need so that you will feel safe and secure and that you can go to the bathroom okay and not be terrified and stuff. So she said that what she needed was to have some separation time from the male so that he's in a different room, she's in a different room, and especially when the lady would leave the house, because that's when he does most of the terrorizing, the male cat. So I tell the lady this, and she said, okay, I can do that. She calls me back 2 days later. She said, that damn cat pooped outside the box again. And I'm like, oh, all right, well, so I checked in with the cat, and she said, well, the lady left for 10 minutes, and she didn't separate us. So I go back, and the lady was like, really? Just for 10 minutes I have to do it? And I said, yeah, it's going to take her, rescue animals specifically, they can take 6 to 9 months to actually fully adjust and transition into their home, and some even longer, especially if they've had a really traumatic experience. So in our drive-through society of wanting things instantly, animals don't work that way. So we need to be patient with them, and especially if you open the door and you ask them what it is that you need, don't slam it in their face, and do the best that you can. So this is coming back to that relationship piece. If you agree to what it is, and you can compromise with them, you can say, well, I don't know if I can do that, but I might be able to do this. Will this work for you? We can ask the animal and see, and you can go back and forth until you come to an agreement that you both can honor. Then make sure that you honor it. And that'll help with the poor potty behavior.
Very interesting.
And Jeremy, I think that I can give Kenesha some advice. Whenever your leg pops up, you should take a belt and whack it down so that you don't do that stuff there. So.
But he's constantly, listen, even when he came for New Year's, it was like I was finding little things around the apartment. I'm like, what's going on here? I had no idea it was him. Anyway.
Chris, you got to put him in a separate room and not for just 10 minutes, okay?
That's what we're going to do from now on.
There you go.
I want to know, how do pets improve our health?
What was that?
I want to know how pets can improve our health.
I'm sorry, Chris, I still didn't get that. How can some vets improve our health? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh, pets improve our health.
how do pets improve our health?
Okay. Sorry, I thought you said vets, and I'm like, and so yeah, I was confused. Pets, how do they improve our health? Well, that's a big one. Number one, just you can pet snakes. So yeah, if you like to pet snakes, that works too. So petting an animal actually lowers your blood pressure, which reduces your stress.
Absolutely.
Which gets you to relax.
I agree with that. I agree with that completely. Whenever I'm in like a bad mood, I just grab my snake and I just, let her slither around in my hands and hold her and whatever.
Listen, we don't need to know what you're doing in the shower, okay?
Jeremy, the fans of this show want to know what I'm doing in the shower. When are you going to realize this? When?
Listen, it's not you anymore. It's me. It's the beard, man. I'm telling you.
You know what? It's not me. It's not you. It is the sex symbol known as Victor the Voice Furman.
Yes.
There you go.
Oh, boy.
So number 2 is not so much with snakes, or cats, but with dogs, you get more exercise. They are motivation to get you off the couch, to get you out. And in fact, there are some interesting dating statistics about animals. Yeah, so I'm going to sidetrack us a little bit, and then I'll come back to the health piece. Pet adoption is hot. 59% of singles thought dating someone who adopted rather than bought a pet made them more attractive. And 66% of men and women would not date someone who doesn't like pets. 27% of women find photos of a pet on a dating profile attractive. 70% of singles think their date's reaction to their animal is important. 35% of single women have been attracted to someone more if they were by themselves because of their pet. Would have been. Does that make sense? No. The women are attracted to them more if they have a pet. They're not by themselves. 72% of single women think owning a dog is the best pet for a man. 28% of single men are turned off by dogs that can fit inside a handbag. That one's funny. 66% of dog owners would date cat people, while 97% of cat owners would date dog people. I thought that was very interesting. And 46% of singles would bring their pet to a walking trail on a first date.
It's interesting. We have a few dog-friendly parks here in New York, and you see a lot of that happening, where the singles would bring their dogs, and the dogs would connect, and then the singles would connect. It's pretty interesting to watch.
Yeah, New York is interesting in general, I have to say. Having been there in April and going back in October, it's very different, the energy, as far as meeting people. It's much easier to meet people, I think, there, because probably just because there's a lot more people there.
Well, you guys remember my little buddy Chase out there in Kansas. He has my old Welsh Corgi. He used that dog to get his current girlfriend right now. And he's going to kill me when he hears this, but he knows it's a damn truth. His name is Baxter, and he's the cutest little thing ever out in Hayes, Kansas. But he used that dog to get his current girlfriend, and she's the best thing that's ever happened to him besides the dog, so it worked out really well.
Well, now,
how did he do it, Jeremy?
Well, yeah, how did he do it? And then I got a question for you, Jeremy.
Oh, well, Baxter's just freaking cute, man. He would take him, he lived right beside the college, so there was always girls running up and down at the front of his street, and so he would wait until he knew they were going to be running, and he would take Baxter out there in the yard, and they would come over and pet him, and he would get phone numbers, and from there on, it's history.
Well, Jeremy, I got a question for you. I want to know, does Kenesha know about that pet goat you used to have that had the same beard as you?
Dude, I used to have goats, man. I used to have a pet goat named Coco. My grandfather, the one that died in the fire, drove almost 100 miles to bring me this pet goat for my birthday. It was the best birthday present I ever got. It was just an old chocolate goat.
People. There you have it.
You know, goats are interesting. They're very, they can be somewhat destructive, but they can be pretty entertaining at the same time.
Well, what I did was put a dog collar on him, and I put
you don't want to know what you did with the goat.
Wait a minute. I put a log chain on him and tied it to a concrete block. That way he could pull it around the yard, but he couldn't. We lived down in this little valley. He couldn't pull it up the hill to get into the road. So he stayed down in the yard. He had his freedom, and he built his strength. He could drag that concrete block everywhere. He loved it.
That's interesting. Guys, Victor, bring some semblance back to the show.
I just wanted to know, Jeremy, were you trained the same way?
Yeah, pretty much. Kanisha's got me tied down with a concrete block. I can't get anywhere besides in the yard.
There you go. And you know what? God bless her for doing that for you, because she's got her prize, and you've got a gem there, Mr. Jeremy. And again, I can't wait till New Year's. You know why, guys? You know why. Anyway, what happens, Kim? What happens when a good pet goes bad?
Well, a lot of different things can happen. Your furniture can be destroyed. Your house can be destroyed. But oftentimes, it's an acting out behavior for a particular reason. So now you're going to start to see some themes like running through my answers here. And the reason for that is just what it is. So like I was saying, animals are the mirrors. So looking at what's going on in the household. So is it a relationship issue, or are you traveling more? You're not home a lot, not paying attention. It's going to be individual again to the situation and to the pet and to the family as to what's going on. But oftentimes they're not acting out just because they want to act out to be bad, just to be bad. There's a reason for it. They're trying to get your attention. So the little other signs you ignored, and these bigger signs, they've just had to get louder and louder to get your attention.
It's really interesting. When we got Kismet for our son when he was 12 going on 13, and they were basically like brother and sister. And when he left to go to college, and she was in his room by herself, she got so upset at his absence that she would rip his sheets apart and just destroy the room. That was the only room she would do that in, and that was her reaction to his not being there. And we learned to work with her and get her through that period of time. But it's very interesting that you mentioned that. Yeah.
In fact, my own dog, the one that during the break I was talking to, same thing. I moved twice in the last couple of weeks, and he, during our squatting phase, he would take my napkin off of, not anybody else's napkin off the table, just my napkin off the table, and eat it.
Wow.
And he went through 4 or 5 napkins before we obviously were paying attention.
Speaking of eating napkins, what common foods are toxic to pets, and what foods are safe?
Well, that's a good question. All right. Hold on, I gotta get
Don't give chocolate to your dog. I know that one for sure. Don't give chocolate to your dog. Any of the alkaloids in chocolate could be toxic to dogs.
Okay, here we go.
And folks, real quick, our call-in number is 818-431-8214 if you want to call in and speak to Miss Baker.
Okay, alcohol can lead to coma, death, and of course intoxication. Avocado is bad. It can cause vomiting and diarrhea. Raisins and currants cause kidney failure. Cooked bones, such as chicken and fish, cause stomach lacerations. Walnuts, macadamia nuts, hit the nervous system and create muscle damage.
Wow.
Onions and garlic, now too much, they can have a little bit, but too much of it will cause blood cell damage and anemia. Dairy, too much dairy causes diarrhea. Grapes, which would be the fresh version of the raisins, again, kidney failure. Mushrooms, some varieties, cause shock and death. Fatty foods such as, your Kentucky Fried Chicken and McDonald's and other things, too much of that will cause pancreatitis. Caffeine can cause vomiting and diarrhea, and it's toxic to the heart and the nervous system. Elixitol, which is your gum and candy. Liver failure, hypoglycemia, and death. And as you mentioned, Victor, chocolate is toxic to the heart and nervous system and can lead to death. And medications, Tylenol, Advil, prescription medication, non-prescription medication, drugs, etc., kidney failure, and GI ulcers.
Well, I have to say that I'm guilty of the chocolate thing because every day when I got home from work, I would give Baxter 3 chocolate chip cookies. And they never bothered him, so I just kept giving it.
Yeah, Jeremy, to that point, some dogs can tolerate it, and some dogs can't. But it's such a crapshoot that, my recommendation is just not to do it at all.
Well, he got into them when he wasn't supposed to. He stole my damn cookies, and then I was like, oh, well, okay, that'll be a good treat for him. So...
We had one experience with Kismet. It's funny that she's from Louisiana. There was a thing, this is not a joke, there was a thing of hot sauce on the kitchen shelf, the counter, and she has this tendency to jump up to see what's up there because she thinks there are treats for her and so on and so forth. And she actually took a couple of licks of some Louisiana, the Tabasco sauce.
Oh.
And she gave me this look, and remember our gang comedies from years ago? They had the dog Petey and the eyes would spin around. That's exactly what she looked like for about 30 seconds. Her eyes were spinning around. And then I gave her water. We flushed her mouth. She was okay, but that was really weird. That was bizarre.
Victor, you should have given her milk. Milk instantly neutralizes the effects of any hot sauce or peppers.
That's a good idea. Thank you. I don't think it'll ever happen again because we're never going to leave hot sauce around. But
for an adult dog is.
What's that?
I heard that milk wasn't good for an adult dog.
If you give too much.
Well, if their mouth is on fire, they need that milk at least on their tongue. Let them get a couple laps of it to neutralize the effects of hot sauce. So yes, folks, if you get something that's too hot for you, drink some milk. It'll go away.
It does. Yes, I've actually done that myself. I've had some habaneros that, and the milk does help. So I would say for the animals, if you're going to do like maybe a tablespoon or something like that, but if you give them, a couple cups or a quart, then you're going to be in trouble.
Well, we're coming up on Halloween and other holidays. What about pets and holidays? What are things to be aware of and to avoid?
Well, Halloween obviously would be the candy. So be very careful about your pets getting into the candy. So we all put the candy at the bowl by the front door because it's easy for us to hand out to the kids. So I would, put your animal, especially your dogs, in another room, one that you can shut the door, which will make it easy for you to know that your pet is safe at home, because sometimes pets can escape through open doors and things like that. So cats and other things that might be afraid, especially if the doorbell is going off all night long. So if you lock them up in a safe place, know that they can't escape, then they will be safe, and that goes for black cats as well. Keep them safe, lock them up, do not allow anyone to grab them and take off with them. The other thing is if you're going to dress your pet up, make sure that they're not going to strangle themselves on the costume, that they can't get tripped up in the costume, anything like that. Just kind of same rules that you would have for your children, do that for your pets. If you decide, maybe ask your pet if they want to be dressed up in the first place. That would be a good question. Not all of them like to be dressed up. Decorations, lights, don't allow your cat to chew on the cord. That goes for Christmas too. So the ornaments and the tinsel and all the extra stuff, the wrapping paper. My dog likes paper, as I told you. That's his big thing. He'll actually take it out of trash cans and stuff like that. So just know what your animal has a tendency to do and take precautions to prevent them from doing that. So if they bolt out the door, then lock them up in a room. If they're crazy around company.
Chris, do you dress up your snake for Halloween?
I sure do.
What does she go as?
A little devil?
Oh, man.
So just some common sense, make sure that your snake can't swallow or mistake anything for food.
Oh,
if you're going to have them out scaring the children.
Lola, our dog, is very skittish. When she hears fireworks, man, she weighs 100 pounds. She's a fat dog. I mean, she's overweight, but, that's neither here nor there. How can we help her being scared of fireworks? Because she will literally just climb up or jump up into your lap and not want to move.
Yeah, so Jeremy, get her a thunder shirt, or you can go and get like an ace bandage and wrap it around her chest. So you're going to go in like an X or a cross. No, not a cross, more like an X. And you'll go underneath both of her front legs and crisscross over her sternum and then crisscross over her spine. And it's the same thing with thunder. Is she afraid of thunder?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can either spend the money and get a thunder shirt, or you can, like I said, take an ace bandage or vet wrap and make the X. And I don't know what it is. I'm going to guess that it's like when you swaddle a baby, it just gives them that safety and comfort and helps them.
The first thing that comes to mind is a mother dog, when she carries her puppies, she carries them by the nape of the neck. And you can pick up a crying puppy and hold it by the nape of the neck and swing it back and forth, and it will instantly stop crying. So I'm thinking that it has something to do with that. Maybe, I don't know.
I've seen these thunder shirts advertised, and basically what they say is the compression on the chest is the sense of the dog being hugged. And not only for loud noises, but anytime you take a dog into a social situation where it seems to be afraid, this compression shirt seems to make the dog feel more comfortable.
And I'll tell you, I went to a horse clinic with Linda Tellington-Jones. I don't know if any of you know who she is. She has done a lot of work she created T-Touch, so it's another, this particular pattern of hand movements that you do on the animal, and it's another way to heal them, so another energy healing modality. And she did a lot of work with zoo animals, and she does a lot of work with horses and stuff too. So I went to this clinic with her in Wyoming, and she talks about these wraps. And one afternoon, all we did was wrap each other up. And she has these.
Really?
She has these multicolored wraps.
I don't know why Jeremy's flushing right now.
Just very particular ways that you do the wraps, and I got to tell you, it does make you feel good. So I had a wrap where it brought my shoulders back, and then I had wraps down my legs, and I had wraps around my low back, and it felt really good. And what's interesting, and this is where you have to be in tune with your dog if you're going to do the wrap or the thunder shirt, is when you're done with the wrap, oh my God, you're just done, and you got to get them off. They feel really good at first, and then, like I said, when your body's just done, you're done.
Kim, can you repeat what you just said, but do it very slowly this time, okay?
I have a question. My daughter just walked in, and come here, Nicole. When Nicole was a kid, I'm going to say she was maybe How old were you when you killed the bird?
Shut up, Dad.
I know you didn't mean it. We had a bird, okay? I loved her. She was a white dove. She was a beautiful dove. And the dove used to follow me all over the house. And I was walking up the stairs, and the bird started hopping up the stairs. So when we started coming down, my poor daughter accidentally stepped on my beautiful bird. And obviously you know what happened. And right away I said, she goes, oh my God, I killed the bird. I said, no, I did it. I stepped on the bird. And for years she believed that. I want to know if my poor bird, has any recollection of that, and if he knows that my daughter was the murderer.
Wow, that's a tall question, Jeremy.
I'm telling you, come here, Nicole.
Wait a minute. Nicole, I have something to say to you, Nicole. Nicole, he's your father, Nicole.
So I will tell you this, Jeremy. The bird felt no pain. It was pretty instantaneous. So I hope that Nicole can sleep easily knowing that.
That's Chris's daughter, not mine.
Yeah.
This is Jeremy. That's
oh,
Chris.
Sorry, Chris.
For years, she really believed that I'm the one who stepped on that beautiful bird.
Sir?
Well, my dad told me tall stories too.
Chris, it's very easy for people to think that because you step on your bird frequently.
Well, I can't help it, though. I trip over it, too, but that's a whole other story.
That's another story. Okay. So why don't we go to question 15, Jeremy, and clean this act up here?
All right. How can I pick the best pet for me or integrate a new pet or baby into the family with pets?
So the best pet for you is based on your lifestyle. And why do you want a pet? So ask yourself that question. Why do you want a pet? And then think about what kind of pet do you want. Do you want a snake? Do you want a duck? Do you want a goat? Do you want a dog? Do you want a cat? Do you want a bird? What is it that you want? Why do you think that you want that particular animal? And then look at, does the animal really fit into your lifestyle? So if you're going to have a dog and you travel 50 weeks out of the year, not sure that that's the best animal for you. Maybe fish. Maybe no animal at all, especially if you're traveling 50 weeks out of the year. So just looking at that, and then when you decide on a particular animal, then decide what breed you want. So if you live in an apartment and you have a couple of border collies, it's probably not going to be the best type of dog for an apartment. And because they are high energy, they need a lot of exercise. Now, maybe you run a lot, maybe you bike a lot, so you could give them enough exercise. You just need to look at that. If you don't, if you prefer to be a couch potato, that's fine. Find a dog that likes to be a couch potato. Greyhounds are great for that. So maybe Chris can answer, are snakes the right type of animal for everyone? Probably not, because most people might not be able to feed live mice to something else. That could be challenging for people.
I can't deal with spiders, though. People that keep spiders in their home creep me the F out, and I will not go in.
Well, Chris had experience. Chris had experience before the snake. He used to feed live mice to his kids.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Speaking of mice,
here we go.
Chris brutally murdered this cute little white mouse that, just got loose. It was Chris's damn fault. And the mouse got loose in his vehicle, and we had to hear about it for like 2 weeks. Every single day there was a video. Now, did this mouse know what he was doing when he was messing with Chris? That's what I want to know.
He messed with the godfather of psychic mediums, and now he's swimming with the fishes. Let me tell you what I did to this little bastard. I got me some thimbles. I filled it up with some cement, and now that friggin' mouse has cement shoes on its little friggin' paws, and he's swimming with the fishes. Damn right. He bit my finger.
And on that note, we'd like to thank the lovely Kim Baker, animal communicator extraordinaire. Kim, let our listeners know how they can get in touch with you and find out more about your work.
Sure. My website is kimbakeranimalcommunicator.com. Sorry, my voice is going. kimbakeranimalcommunicator.com.
And do you do any type of sessions or classes around the country?
I do. Yep, I do readings for people. So if you have an issue with your pet or you just want to know what's going on with your pet, happy to do a reading for you. And I also do trainings. And I travel. I'm doing some retreats and things like that, too. Like I'm going to be in Costa Rica again in March. And I typically do the animal communication classes during the winter because in the summertime people are just too busy and they don't really want to be inside. I also have a how-to book so you can learn how to do it yourself, and I go through the steps. I give you exercises to get into the space. I take you step by step on how to send messages, how to receive messages, different ways that you can do it. I even give you practice exercises. And we talk about lost animals, we talk about living animals, deceased animals, troubleshooting, all kinds of great stuff. You can get it in ebook format for less than $9, and you can get the paperback version for, I think it's $18 or $19. So
and what's
pretty
the name
affordable.
Of the book? What's the name?
The book is Quick How-To Guide for Learning to Talk with Animals. It's also available on Amazon.
Cool. Kim, thank you ever so much.
Well, thank you, Victor and Chris and Jeremy. And
Thank
I
you,
don't know if
Ms.
Tom's
Baker,
still around.
for joining us.
No,
but
Tom
thank you all very much. Had a great time.
And you're a great guest and a great sport. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Jeremy,
Thanks.
who's our guest
Bye.
next week?
Kevin Benton, an ex-pro basketball player who wrote about his trip to hell and back.
That was a death experience, a near-death experience?
Death experience.
Well, that should be fun.
Wow. Did he play for the Philadelphia 66ers?
I have no earthly idea, man.
Okay.
I think he might have.
Okay.
Anyway,
and on
guys,
that note,
thank you for listening to the show. Go ahead, Victor.
And on that note, he's psychic medium Chris George. He's Jeremy Moonshine Adams. I'm Victor the Voice Furman. You're listening to Vision Quest on the DTM Wicked Radio Network. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. All right. Good show, fellas.